All right. Chapter 5. Program costs and accounting reporting. Section 101020 of the Florida State Statute requires program and cost accounting reporting on the school by school basis. Cost reporting has two central elements: identification of direct program costs, aggregation of the cost of the program, two, the attribution of indirect costs of the program in appropriate basis. The program costing is not accomplished solely to the day-to-day transaction recorded to the service of the school district accounting, and the fact that the transaction-based system is difficultly expensive to manage since many transactions involve more than one program attributed to direct and indirect costs have been adjusted several times during the fiscal year. The effective budgetary control as an essential component of the accounting system becomes increasingly complex and under such a system, this is particularly true in Florida, where statutes directly expenditures of the funds and programs can be accepted by the school by school or district aggregated basis. Exceptional education program funding follows the student in all cases, but not special education classes. Students identified with needing English and speakers of their other language, ESLOs. Programs generally taught in the basic program funding classes with all and may include exceptional educational students. Financial accounting provides the foundation for the program costing. However, the system precludes capturing all funds and costs of the program levels. At the time of the program, the cost of the prepared certain costs of the accounting procedures must be applied to the amount of produced in financial accounting system. The procedure also are applied on the systematic basis documented for the audit trail purposes. The following section details the Florida program cost of the report procedures. Costs to be reported. With an exception of capital objection expenditures of land improvements, buildings, and fixed equipment, and remodeling renovations, all functions of $5,000 to $8,200 expenditures of the general fund of the special revenue funds will be included in the program cost, except for the $5,500 and $5,900. Separate cost reports of the general fund and special revenue funds must be reported for each of the schools. Each set of the schools reports the aggregated produced reports for the general fund, special revenue funds. The aggregated reports include the following terms, which should be reconciled: annual financial report, expenditures total of the general special review revenue funds, recreation enrichment programs, other specified programs, non-program capital expenditures, community service function 9100, debit services 9200. Food and transportation services are reported by the school by school basis, but not attributed to as the cost of programs other than hand chartered school distribution or not attributed to traditional schools that should report reconciliation items in the program cost report. Cost elements. Cost reporting elements including direct, indirect costs. Direct costs are classified into the major objects. Indirect costs are classified as the school level or district level. Rule 6A 101.014 or Florida Administration Code distinguish cost as the school level or district law. The distinction is made by the regard nature of the cost rather than the cost center of the expenditure charge. The major objects costs are salaries. The major object costs. Salaries. Object 100 is defined as object 100 defined in the redbook. Employees benefits object 200. Purchase services objects 30. Energy services object 40, excluding charter schools distribution. Material supplies object 500, other than others 700, and capital outlay object 600 of the building, fixed equipment 630, land 660, improvements other than the building 670, remodeling renovation 680. Direct costs of the program are those costs identified with the function 5,000 instruction, except for the costs under the functions 5,500 pre-kindergarten or 5,900 other instruction, charter schools, and distribution. Direct sales and benefits are the loss of the cost of the elements to consider in the program costing if those instances which the teacher serves as more one program necessary to provide a total salary accurately among the programs required. Examining the teacher schedule relative to the time devoted into teaching each of the program. The time structure of the teacher's schedule may vary from the traditional 5 or the 6 periods of the secondary school with the day-long schedule of the elementary school teacher. The computer software should provide the Department of Education with the program's cost of the reporting, examining the teacher schedule for the student database records that equates to the record reported class period of the time module, whether determined manually through the computer program. The following procedures is followed: determining the number of the class periods and instructional modules of each instructor. Determine the number of class periods and instructional modules of each instructor. Divide instructional salary by the number of the class periods and class periods and modules. Calculate the salary for each of the program modified in the numbers of time modules, each of the designated programs in the time module salary. In addition, with these students, there are two grades of groups, for example, 4-8 and 9-12. The two programs within the two module, necessary to split the two modular salary. According to example, the basic student programs, basic program students with the ESE services, basic students and ESOL. Examples: consider a teacher about 50,000. Considering a teacher earns about $50,000 for the following time, the scheduled basis of the program should student load the FEFFP program number of students, time modulate number of the grade taught, basic ESE services and ESLOs. With the time modulate 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 is we following the grades taught to 10th and 11th. You see them at 1-2 periods of the basic 20 to 19 with no ESO or ESE services. For 3 to 5 periods of 10 to 11, 10 to 11, 15 to 16 basic, and basic EO services at 5, and ESOLs at 0 and 4. Excluding any period of using 5 instruction modules, $10,000 will be assigned to each of the student contacting period. Will be assigned to each student contact period at the time. $50,000 divided by 5. Periods 1 is devoted to the basic program student of the grade 9 through 12. Therefore, the $20,000 teacher salary allocated by the FEFP program. The periods 3, 4, and 5 allocated by the FEFP based on the number of the students in each period relative to the number of the students in each period. The salary determinative methodology illustration follows as period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basic 9 through 12 is $10,000 for the first and 2 periods, and $3,750 with a period of $6,400 for the 4 and 5th period. The basic N through 12 ESEs are additional $2,500 to $2,000, and periods 3 through 5. In ESLO for the period of 4 and 5 is in $1,600. Information will be used to determine the FET staff position status attribution schedule. Indirect costs are attributed to the 3 basis staff number of the teachers. The FTE students' time pays for the purpose of the FTE program that determined concurrent with the salaries programs expended to spend the FTE position. The program cost reporting attributes the salary programs, computes the FTE staff position program assessment as a program assignment date to the time module, annual salary data, day worked, and annual contract period. It has been are entered in for each entire alternate calculation using the worked hourly is provided the hourly rated teachers' educational classes. The other objects of $5,000 relative small part of the total program. The cost must be specifically identified in particular programs attributed to the base of the FTE teachers staff. Indirect costs of the functions 6100 to 8200 are those that cannot be readily accurately identified with the program. For example, custodial staff as school cleans as are used in all programs of the school. Attribution costs. 2 bases of attribution indirect costs to instructional programs are as follows. The staff cost of the basis is 10 to the increase or decrease of the number of teachers, otherwise must be related to the staff of those spaces used. Number of the FTE teachers paid for the general fund of the specific revenue funds. Time and space. Cost basis varies with the amount of the space being used in the programs. 3 bases are related to instructional support. In general support and functions as follows. The FTE student food service FTE student food service student transportation service allocated schools, not to programs. Staff, student personnel and services, instructional media services, instructional curricular development purposes, instructional staff certification, instructional related technology board, general administrative, school administrative, visual services, central services, administrative technology services, instructional time and spaces. Instructional time and space, operational plant, maintenance plant, facility acquisition, and construction. The sources of attribution factors. The annual FTE by schedule of the program will be taken to the FTE submitted by the Department of Education. The staff figures are based on the FTE teachers by the program. Full-time is identified by the term serving the regular teaching contract of the school year. Short courses, summer courses must be equated equated to the regular term. The Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses, the FISH, report all spaces for each school. Time usage must be established for the reference and class schedule. School districts may use spaces models and typical program spaces is used in each other, identifying the program. Attribution tables. The attribution factors of the FTE and staff of the spaces of all programs that constitute overall attribution table. The indirect cost and the factors provided attribution indirect cost at the school level, district level, and expenditures. One of the attribution of the tables is not adequate, accurate distribution of all expenditures. For example, a school district general fund is involved with all schools and all programs, while the expenditure benefited only certain programs. Exceptional education shall be restricted to specified in school programs. The school program tables are used to attribute indirect costs to proprietary the school and the program. The school and the program are used to attribute indirect costs to proprietary certain residual direct costs. All costs must be associated with the school program table. The 5 mandated tables established to the correct the ARRA funds and Educational Job Act funds. The table 43100 and state official stabilization forwards 43200 at the target era. Stimulus fund 43300. Other ARRA stimulus grants 434. ARRA race at the top 4,300 43500. Educational Job Acts must be used. Each of the school district designates additional school program tables needed to the accurate attribute the cost in the programs. For example, general funds expenditures. All general funds expenditures except for the specific to other tables. This table includes all school and programs. Transportation expenditures exclude the programs is not served as such an adult education and administrative and support restricted in specific programs. Exceptional education, career educational workforce development programs. The basic programs required for the service separate tables. Special revenue funds. The ARRA expenditures reported on the table was specified in the Commissioner of Education full food service expenditures, including the school having food service excluding non-participating programs such as adult education. Title I expenditures including only school and programs served. Migrant programs expenditure only one school and programs served. Career education project expenditures only including only schools and programs served. These are special revenue funds. Adult basic education project expenditures include only schools and programs served. The ESE federal project expenditures including only schools and programs served. Since special revenue projects are generally directed to the targeted schools or other programs, the table including all schools program is usually not appropriate. The school district will generally have more of the table and indicated here. The number of tables will be varied on the school district identification program of the accounting system. Special consideration of paraprofessionals exclusively assigned to the particular programs will identify those programs. Contracted service expenditures that have been handled at the district level which are incurred in the specific programs will be reported direct from the specific direct costs for the specific programs. For example, district school board may have contracted the service for students reported the physical occupational therapy program. Because of the contract was developed in the school district office, the expenditure may not have to be reported the direct cost of the ESE as to school whether the service is rendered. Contractual expenditures that are similar to cited programs is reported, but the cost of the program benefited and be accomplished through the special tables of the cost reporting. The ESE program, students receiving exceptional educational services reported by the ESE for a full day. Therefore, all teachers of instruction basic career education at-risk programs for the ESE students in their class with reported the ESE in portion of the number of ESE students to students in all of the classes period by period. The all ESE teaching personnel, team teachers, co-teacher facilitators, counseling teachers, and lab teachers will be reported as ESE direct costs. Adult education plant operation costs. When a school measures the assignment to day and evening programs conducted in the same plant, operating costs, utilities, custodial maintenance will be attributed to both schools. Direct adult education costs. When the director of all adult education performs the function principal of the adult at school, the administrative costs will be split between the school level, district level, and direct categories. Computer programs for the cost of in accounting the program cost reporting services developed. The Department of Education accomplishes the calculations required for the distribution salaries for the program served, the developed, and the indirect cost, attribution and cost, and attributed indirect costs of the using factors, symptoms distributed, so ready develop staff and time space time and space factors creates the attribution tables using the additional expenditure procedures required for the report, supplemental costs, and reports. The logic of a program cost report system is consistent with the requirements found in the chapter Alternative Computer Programming using school district for the program costing report. For the most apply the same logical identifying direct costs by the school program and attributed to the costs specified with the chapter. Alternative systems must be produced edit reports including the input data, the calculated results, also like the produced by the state program cost reporting system. The cost reporting process. Direct salaries for the teachers must be determined programmatically by the price described earlier. To summarize as follows: if the teacher in more than one time module, different programs are involved in each of the time module. In the year, the data the teacher will divide the number of the time in modules taught, the multitude by the percent of the students, the categories for the time modules. The direct salaries for substituted teachers, when not specifically identified with the program because of the nature of the substitute service, are attributed to the staff basis. The direct salaries of the classroom professionals serving the more one program attributed on the staff at the time of the service of each of the program, not readably determinable. Salary supplements generally will be distributed in the same manner as the regular pay. However, the supplement is not related to regular duties. The staff attribution will be used to distribute the premium. Other salary amounts of the pay to the teacher. Conversion of the sick leave of the retirement sabbatical leave will be handled by the district-wide staff attribution. Employees' benefit as calculated by the software based on the school district percentage of the base benefits paid to the salaries paid. Direct purchases may be recorded for the transaction for the purpose of the bank's direct purchases are after deducting transaction identified the specific programs the prorated the staff basis either through the school or district appropriation. Other expenditures may record directly the transaction programs of the program and directly other expenditures deducting transfer transactions identifying the specific programs related to the staff basis either through school or district appropriation. The capital expenditures may be recorded directly to the transaction for the program. The balance of the direct capital outlay, the deducting transaction identified with the specific program appropriated staff basis, either the school or district operation. Indirect schools cost, the indirect costs, they're either identified with the school, the transaction, or appropriated by the schools and improved basis. These indirect costs are attributed to the cost within the school on the basis either of the number of the FTE staff numbers of the program for the space used in the program. Indirect district-wide costs of the indirect costs that are identified with the district-wide support activities. Indirect district-wide costs are attributed to programs within school based on either the number of FTE staff numbers or space used of the programs of school. Direct applicable to all programs distributed in all programs. Indirect costs applicable only to the one program to subset of program distributed only those programs. The use of the school program table. Food and student transportation services are not not attributed to the programs, but are displayed below the program costs of each applicable school report. These costs attributed to the school on the FTE student being the basis of the separated school program tables. Distribution attribution process. Within each school year, the table attribution basis applied to the indirect cost function as follows: FTE 7600, staff 6100, space 7400, FTE 7800, 6200, and staff spacing 7900. Following with the staff at 6300 with a space of 8100, and then followed by the straight down staff at 6400, 6500, 7100, 7200, 7300, 7500. 7,700, 8,200, and direct costs of the function 5,000 that cannot be identified in specific programs are attributed in the FTE staff. The salary benefits will be directly identified in the program as described earlier in the chapter. However, the salary amounts of the instructional provisions are necessary assigned to the particular programs are substituted, plus the supplemental salary as described previously may be attributed to these small amounts and not indirectly identified. The program is termed residual amounts, and the direct nature of the identification stops short of the program, the school, the district, the other objects direct the cost constitutes about more than 6% of the program cost. The nature of the large portion of the items is such that direct identification programs impractical according to the objects frequently required in the financial accounting system only for the school level. The program costing reporting system provides the attribution of residual amounts of the program. The calculation within each school program, the calculation attributed amounts in the same. The school program defines the school programs within the school. The attribution factors are included in the distribution Distribution of costs associated with the school program tab. Calculations of attribution of the FTE staff in the space are handled indirectly. Are handled identically. Uh, district level indirect costs attributed to all schools and programming. An example of the function 7100 of the amount of 7100 board, the amount was attributed to all programs at the school. For each of the program, each of the school, the amount of the product multiplying the dollar of the function 7100 by the fraction. The numerator of the function will the number of the staff of the program. The school denominator will be the number of the staff for all the programs at the school. District level indirect costs attributed to group of programs only. Example: the cost supporting of office assisting superintendent carrier education. The cost of the part of the function 7200, the general administration but benefit limited to career education. The cost would be attributed only to the career education purposes. Accordingly, through the table devoted to the career education, the cost may be can be distributed to each career education program to each of the school with the fraction with the numerator staff particular career education program. The school denominator the number of the staff in all educational career programs in the school district. A district level indirect cost attributed to a single program. An example of a salary and benefits or program coordinating function 6300 will serve only one program. For the situation causes the use of special table devoted for the program, the cost can be distributed to each of the schools multiplying the dollar amount by the fraction in which the numerator number of the staff of the program of the school, the denominator the number of the staff of the program in the school district. School district required at the school level this amount attributed to each of the program given the school to be determined by the factor staff and space determined by the function. The age for each of the program relative to the aggregate the factor of all programs. For example, if one of the teacher employed in the ESE program of the school, therefore 9 of the other full-time teachers, 1/10 of the school indirect cost will be attributed to staff. Basis will be attributed to ESE. School indirect recorded district level. The amounts identified in the school level per 6A1.014 Federal Administrative Code particularly requires the recording at district level. For example, such costs and labor, the amounts attributed in the same manner the indirect costs of the but reported addition school indirect the program cost reports the user guide form 4A for additional information accurate reporting for this data. Residual direct amounts of the nature and items described in the preceding section, the amounts attributed for the same manner as district school and direct exempt for the amounts added to the particular object's direct cost. The food, student, transportation services, the amount not attributed to the programs but are based on each of the school shares, the FTEs class exclusive of the all education programs, off campus career education program schools not served at the deleted of the tables needed for the function. And that is chapter 5. Program Cost and Accounting Report.